Human Tripwires 1-0 in their series so far, and now they've got the delicacy on playing on their own home ground in Breeze. My name is Pavlos, also known as X-Warrior, joined by Lupita Kremer, as I do enjoy saying. The first match, very exciting. Human Tripwires looked in control, a lot of depth in their playstyle, quite the contrary on Alliance. Yeah. Do we expect that to be the same in Breeze?
I can't help but think that going into Breeze, Human Tripwires, they control the narrative for the entirety of Haven. Yes, Alliance were able to get a few stray rounds here or there, but it feels like a lot of their success came off the back of that first pistol round. And once we hit the guns, Human Tripwires, they just looked unstoppable. As we move to Breeze, with Radsky doing so well on that chamber, I can't help but think that really, Alliance, they need a chamber of their own, or a duelist, potentially a KO, who can find a way to lock down that chamber, because Radsky was able to run rampant on Haven, and we saw, you look at the result, we saw that they were just able to stomp with it.
Yeah, and also I think what we brought up on the previous analysis point post the previous map, we also said that last week, Breeze didn't look too great for Human Tripwires. Another aspect to them allowing this, peaking that map themselves, means they probably worked around it. And also plays in with the tactic that Alliance probably didn't look into this map so much themselves. But at the same time, I have the question myself. If you're Alliance right now, you've got a brand new roster. You're not really going to be working too much on anti-stratting, are you? You're going to mostly try to develop your core play. And I think that's what really lacked from the previous one. There wasn't enough depth.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it feels like Alliance, they were playing reactionary. It felt because about halfway through the map, it sort of became quite obvious that everything they did, Human Tripwires sort of read. I actually don't know who the IGL is for Human Tripwires, but I guarantee you they have a doctorate in psychology. Probably invented and created the curriculum for psychology doctorates. If you're struggling, blame him. But the reality is, he knew what Alliance were doing probably before Alliance did. It was such a good read. And honestly, in a battle of minds, Robbie won that hands down.
Yeah, and I think also when you consider that it's a completely different mind controlling Alliance right now, I think it's Cider that has taken on the reins. Previously, it was Fearoth, right? Now known as Enzo, as he's switched over to Fnatic, right? So the fact that it's a completely different person kind of calling the shots, you kind of realize this is a big difference maker. And I remember one of the interviews that Boaster made is that Fearoth is a leader that Boaster himself says that I've taken points from him. He says things that I'm saying, wait, I'm the leader here. Shouldn't I be saying that? So it makes you think the depth, the experience Fee has had. I'm calling him Fee because I'm used to calling him Fee. But Enzo really is a very deep player. And without him, Cider's got massive shoes to fill.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And right now, Alliance, I would love to see a attempt at just keeping Human Tripwires back, keeping them in a position where they're sort of forced to react to how Alliance is playing. With Alliance starting on the defense, then you have the freedom to allow Albert to roam a bit with an operator to try and catch out Human Tripwires wherever possible. I personally do like the fact of seeing the return of the chamber on Radsky, accompanied by Nuki on the KO. I think Human Tripwires are probably going to have quite an aggressive defense. However, with them starting on their attack, very much is their map pick. I think their objective now is 6 rounds. They can do that on their attack. They've won the map, in my opinion.
I think we've seen yesterday also the contrast between Cypher and KO brought in, the difference it makes. I'm still much of a bigger fan of KO. Not likewise. KO, sorry, Chamber.
Likewise.
Excuse me. It's just the unpunishable movement you can create. It's just untouched. Cypher has been strong even when Chamber wasn't in. He was the superior of the 2 Sentinels on this map on the most part. So, yeah, not an impossible way, but an old-fashioned one.
No, you're absolutely right. Particularly on Breeze, where the rotation times are so long, you want that extra teleport, just to give you that extra couple of seconds to get to a site in time. However, as we move to Breeze, Human Tripwires looking to push through mid, maybe flanking over to A, with Alliance pushing through B to get a bit of early control.
Human Tripwires on the attack. It seems that it's Alliance that are on the offensive. 3 of their members crossing towards elbow. Soon to be approaching mid. There is Radsky fairly deep in it. Human Tripwires are actually playing this very freaking slow.
I love it. It's essentially giving Alliance a false negative. They've sort of cleared mid. They've no reason to expect Devo to be there. And having pushed through B, it was so long ago at this point that Human Tripwires very well could have rotated back into position. Because of the lack of utility on A, it means that Alliance, they haven't actually gained anything from that initial push.
They gained nothing. It's like nothing happened. They're back where they started. Oh, the timing is everything there. Embo wasn't quite checking that corner. In time, at least. And Desmo. Oh, Embo peeks back around. And now, Human Tripwires with a heavy numbers advantage. Devo fairly deep in mid, catching out one of the rotations. Alliance got a lot of work to do here. Toxic Screen closing out one of these positions. Close splice to the right though, lies Radsky. Still alive. Somehow, still alive and still getting kills. Not even dead yet. Down to 1 point of health. Nille finding some damage. Getting Radsky as well. Could this be doable though? Spike touched. Robbie has to swing out. Goes out for a shock dart. Softened up. Recon. An ability to pre-fire it. Human Tripwires first blood. Carrying on that momentum.
Really, really strong stuff. And I quite like the use of having the Jets become the lurker. You saw that Devo sort of stagnated in mid for about 30 seconds there, and then Human Tripwires, they went for a kind of duelistless push over to A with Mookie sort of holding the backline. I'm surprised by that attack, but it worked beautifully, and I suppose that's a testament as to how effective the double duelist can be on Breeze. And with that lurk, Devo was able to catch out Albert. This is alongside the initial opening with Desmo falling, and from a 5-on-3 after plan, I mean, even the best teams will struggle with that. Human Tripwires, they move to their bonus now. Fairly strong buy with a Vandal coming out on Devo.
Camera taken out.
The Marshal, of course, is there for Nilla. Long distances can do the work. I think ever since Chamber has been introduced, people have realized the value of having a scoped weapon on other players apart from a Jet.
Yeah.
Either that's an Operator, on a Sentinel, or a Marshal. People have realized it doesn't have to be Chamber. Obviously, you're given some guarantees with a Chamber. It makes it easier to work with it.
Spike planted.
But the power these scoped weapons get, the influence they can have in a round, is just too big to ignore.
Something that works quite well with the Marshal as well is that they only have to hit body shots. All they're doing is sort of tenderizing and softening the targets up for the sheriffs that are going to do the bulk of the damage.
I think Alliance are just walking into their death right now. It's a death trap. A Vietnam guerrilla trap. And with high tech, because I don't think they had shock darts back then.
I'm not even going to comment on that. It's Alliance. They moved their first full buy. The Human Tripwires, the only player who fell was the one with the Marshal, so for Radsky, we'll probably see upgrade. Maybe even just hold on to the Headhunter, as Human Tripwires look to play the bonus. Over on Alliance, it's rifles on every single player. Nilla, the only player who's actually killed anyone thus far, has got a neural theft readily available. Now, because he's got that online so quickly, I would love to see the spontaneous usage of that, because I think the Chamber does have overall more effectiveness when it comes to aiming. The Info Gatherer's ult makes Cypher better, so in using these ults as quickly as possible, you are giving yourselves a chance to level the playing field and agent difference.
Human Tripwires are going to use tempo to their advantage, looking to move forwards. Malfoy though, connecting the shots with a Phantom, anticipating more to come. Devo is there to stop it. And now on the back end, Nilla in trouble. But still, Human Tripwires find the advantage. They've got the numbers and they've got the lesser weapons. This shouldn't be happening in Desmo. He better find a shot, but Radsky knows of this. The corner is found, elbow spotted, and now it's Human Tripwires on the back foot. Knowing that Desmo's swinging by, but Albert distracted in time. Embo pre-firing, but completely blind. Still able to connect the shot. Vandal created. And now there's an opportunity, but can't check both ends at the same time. Cider from behind, able to interrupt. Alliance recover what could have been a disastrous round.
You're absolutely right. However, it was still a bonus for Human Tripwires. The fact that they were able to kill 3 players and get a spike plant is going to mean that Alliance are going to feel this in the wallets ever so slightly. That being said, I am very, very surprised that Embo was able to get this kill while fully blinded.
It is impressive. Although it looked a little bit ugly in the middle, completely being blind as a bat does not really help, does it? Echolocation, right?
Yeah.
They use echolocation, don't they?
Bats? Yeah, a human equivalent of a bat would be someone throwing their head back and going, ah, and then just knowing where everyone is. And I don't want anyone to tell me otherwise, because that would ruin my perception of echolocation. I quite like...
Honestly, I don't even know if they make noise. I don't think they speak with it. I think it's their wings or something. Honestly, I don't know.
God,
Honestly,
we're uneducated.
I don't know. I am uneducated. I swear I used to watch documentaries. I used to watch documentaries.
There's someone who knows how echolocation works who's watching this cast with their head in their hands. They're like, hoping for an opening hit. In mid, spotted out by Malfoy, and Alliance now knowing of the mid control that human tripwires have established, are potentially going to aggress elsewhere, with Desmo on the close angle, trying to prevent anyone from getting into corridor. Not
too deep, though. That's the important part. I think it's reactionary to potentially a push onto the A site. Toxic screen, enabling the push, keeping them in, blockading the sides. Ooh, Robbie finding one. Desmo returning onto Radsky, still a 4-on-4. An Alliance awaiting the approach from all of their members. Albert will be able to catch them off guard, perhaps. Blaze to the side, dashes into the fragment. Nilla is there to stop it. But Desmo yet to come in, and Embo is afraid of it. When does he turn around? He turns around in time, nearly turns 180 degrees. But Malfoy seems to be getting the better of them, but doesn't know where Robbie's going to be coming from. He's got a Hunter's Fury as well,
Ooh.
But cannot anticipate Desmo swinging out. And that is Alliance equalizing the playing field 2-2.
I won't lie, that was a pretty clean round for Alliance. I think that the trades went beautifully, and I'm surprised that human tripwires allowed Desmo to survive for as long as he did. They were in a kind of weird hybrid position where they probably could have got off that site and pushed into Desmo, isolated him, then played that retake without having anyone near Madonna. However, level pegging, 2-2 now. Alliance still with a fragmented buy. It's not quite at full power yet, but it still dwarfs the firepower of human tripwires. We go for this with a Vandal, a Guardian, then just a couple of pistols. Hunter's Fury available for both teams here, as Albert goes a little bit aggressive.
A very preemptive Hunter's Fury, but one that pays dividends. Desmo. That's one way to put your team on top.
Right here.
Alliance will be thankful. Perhaps it's not that over that quickly. A decider on the horizon. Early days of the map, of course, with capabilities and possibilities being countless.
Take flight.
But the next approach seems to be that A site, and Alliance have some sort of a read on it with the rotations coming in very quickly.
Ambush location known, but that spike's still in mid.
Oh, and Lilla's read it perfectly. Muka falls. And another headshot found, and he just drops back. No reason to contest once again. Now peeks through, finds damage through the wall, and follows it up as well. Alliance making it look clean and swift. Now in the lead.
Really, really strong round, and I love the pings that came out from Nilla there. Really, really strong stuff. So much so, actually, that a lot of that round was achieved by info rather than the actual kills. Being able to read that spike plant in mid as well, or that spike push through mid, worked absolutely beautifully. And now for human tripwires, so they find themselves with a round's deficit to make up for. They do still have 4 ults and a full buy ready to combat Alliance. The only advantage for Alliance at the moment is that Operator over on Albert. Comes out fairly early, so maybe a chance to give it some proper establishment in this.
Human tripwires waltzing into tunnel. And a Hunter's Fury, a preemptive one as well from human tripwires, but not as fruitful as the one Desmo threw out a couple of rounds ago. And Desmo, speak of the devil, is finding a lot of damage. Important kills to be found, putting his team on top. For the rest to are alive, but Cider ends up falling. Ratsky, does he check? is left. Nilla swinging out in time, catching his opponent off guard, has a neural theft available, and keeps his teammate, and keeps his team sort of in control, having most of the information available. Embo does have the Viper's Pit though. Shock Dart softening him up. Maybe for the rest to clean him up later on, but Alliance patient as ever. No reason to swing. It's their round to lose and they know it. Human Tripwires, on the other hand,
30 seconds left.
need to artificially create an advantage. Oh, Albert's shot does connect, but it's not enough damage. It's through the container. 3 points of health. Desmo finishes the job his teammate couldn't end. Embo holds on. Not a triple, surely not. Malfoy holds on. And Alliance keep it going as well.
That's a shame.
That's a shame.
We're not seeing, essentially, we're not seeing Human Tripwires adapt to how Alliance are playing. Granted, we are still in early days, but for Human Tripwires, that adaptation needs to come through kind of now.
They really do, and I don't think it has to be exactly now. They're on a sheriff round, but that
For the next spy round. For the next spy round.
For sure. For sure.
The mileage that is getting from these cams as well.
Evo!
Oh, there's
Sneaky
Viper's Pit.
being. Now this round has transformed into one which is within the realms of possibility for the Tripwires. Albert looking to move around. Embo is wary of that corner. He's going to wait for the teammates to arrive. Fragment utilized. Embo catching out Albert. They haven't crossed through. Robbie as well. Coming out of the shadow. Cider finds one. Has a flash drive. No one on the outskirts of it though. All within. Embo swings out from the corner. And Human Tripwires make the impossible possible.
Really strong. I love the reactionary use of that Viper's Pit. Once Delo gets that second kill, they sort of go, oh, okay, right, this round is winnable. Commit the Viper's Pit, get that spike down, and then they just play reactionary from there. Don't get me wrong, there was a big commitment to that round. We saw the Sword of Force come out as well, alongside the use of the Null Command last round. Human Tripwires are going to have a little bit of a deficit when it does come to ultimates for this next buy round. Over on Alliance, they have their Viper's Pit, they've got their Null Command, and their Blade Storm. Blade Storm will be brought out by Albert now. And for Evo, another push through mid. Why fix what isn't broken as Human Tripwires once again look to exploit the gap in Alliance's defense.
That they do indeed, moving in quickly towards the B site. No one holding on to this mid position. Malfoy using a Viper's Pit to at least have some space to work with, but needs to get one and get out of there. Maybe even get two. Wary of that angle. Snakebite dropped, but he's going all the way around, not really entertaining that idea of holding into his position, and that will be costly because Ratsky has found his way in McDonald's and given space for Human Tripwires to get that plant.
There's Albert, finishes off Embo. Flank revealed now. 3 on 2.
And Viper's Pit is no more.
That's very true. Ratsky has to be so careful.
He's going after him. But Albert, he's just too smart. Holds back. When the spike isn't down, he cannot go for this. But Ratsky now has an off angle, doesn't he? Thankfully for Albert, that angle will not be his first approach. Instead, brother-in-arms, Cider, also there for assistance. Albert dashing in, Cloudburst deteriorating fast. Cider is down. Robbie's done his job. He may have been able to double it up, but Ratsky does what is required. Oh, but Albert! An insane shot onto Ratsky will keep him and his team alive and put Alliance even further in the lead.
With a Sheriff and 30 HP, there, Albert has no business winning a clutch like that. An incredible 1 versus 1 there, able to retrieve the Vandal, and able to show to Human Tripwires that no ults, no problem. Really well recovered around there for Alliance. And I do like the initial strategy from Human Tripwires to push through mid. Unfortunately, Pavlos, it's just not enough.
It really is not. It's a close one, this one, isn't it? Not too bad of a defense for Alliance.
The buy from Alliance as well isn't great. Spectre still have to come out, and while they are winning rounds, they're losing a lot of players in the process. It's a war of attrition. Every player counts. Human Tripwires, not too bad a buy. Sheriff and the Guardian, though, taking the place of what is two Spectres on Alliance.
Devo in mid with the operator. Ratsky again. Multiple times Desmo's pushed this. Alliance, this isn't, well, Human Tripwires, this is their adaptation towards a couple of times has crippled them before.
I cannot use that.
And that all joined together with a dagger has justified the decision to be wary of it. Desmo close by, shocked up, lowering his health levels. Killing it just a little bit easier to take on, but they've taken a lot of time here, right? All this time has been happening. We've dwindled down to 30 seconds. And a decision promptly has to be made. Devo, operator in hand, eliminating his opposing duelist. And Cider is the next player in contention. Oh, taking down what his teammate couldn't. And now we're on 4-4. Human Tripwires in the nick of time, getting the spike down. This is going to be an epic retake where every player is involved very quickly.
Get your ink and pen. I'll get your ink and paper out. This one will be a chronicle for the ages.
Robbie, I think you can spot the operator there. And pre-fires it! Knocked Calapto. Nilla there to bounce back. Embo from the door's position. It's a little bit rough around the edges, but still gets it done. And Nilla now not only has to get 2 kills, but he has to defuse the spike as well. He touches it, gets them out into the open. Embe swings. He knows where at least one of them is. Touches it again. Ratsky. He has to be in that corner, but they're so resilient to hold back. It's Embo to come out of the shadows. And it's Human Tripwires to close up the gap.
Tell you what, Pavlos, that round was all Embo. Being able to catch out those 2 players on the flank. After Malfoy got that first kill, before Embo was able to trade it, I thought, okay, the round's over. Elias have won it. But no, Embo, beautiful spray transfer. Then for the 1 versus 2 on players with two different angles, it's always going to be a difficult retake. And Vanilla, fortunately, just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Human Tripwires, they make it 4, reducing the differential to just 1 round now. And more importantly, Pavlos, is the Alliance economy has now been broken, something which Human Tripwires are going to look to hammer home.
Ooh. Malfoy. Give me more, he says.
There goes the Plate Storm as well.
Come to me. Yeah, he has forced out the Plate Storm, hasn't he? You're right.
Oh, head was spotted. Wasn't quite converted though. Malfoy thinks he's going to have to get out of the way.
Under Shuri. This is an expensive round from them. Even though they're not using weaponry, they're using quite a lot. They realize they've got plenty full of capabilities. Bulldog shot though. Not on point. And Robbie, of course, will be taking charge of it. Doubling it up. Increasing the load on the surviving players of Alliance. Muka. Fragment. Keeping himself far from his teammates, from his opponents, excuse me.
No!
Sick jump shot!
Alright!
That is what you go for to get the win. Close by. The spray is what he needed. Desmo, wary of 1. Won't be able to defuse. Won't be able to kill. Won't be able to do a single thing. Will just walk into his demise as Human Tripwires, with less weaponry, get the job done.
And shows the war of attrition that these teams have to face. When you are constantly having to reinvest, even on the rounds you win, because players are dying, then your economy never gets off the ground. Even now, even after an eco, Alliance have got to buy down to 0. We enter the penultimate round of this first half, and Human Tripwires, they found that rhythm, that same rhythm we saw earlier on Haven, something which Alliance now are going to really struggle to break.
It's equalized no Tremor now, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
It
working.
really is.
Something to highlight as well is that Vanilla doesn't have any additional utility. He's deployed all of it now. And same for Malfoy. Only 2 snake bites. The lack of economy is really starting to show.
And that one shock dart took down all of their tripwires.
Yep.
Spray down through the toxins. They get it done. Malfi prized possession, that kill for sure. And the fight in mid keeps it going. And actually levels things out a bit. Alliance multi-sided approach. Cider looking to breach the back lines as the rest take the front line. Hunter's Fury revealing the positioning of one, not quite finding the damage that they would have liked though. Muka coming out of the shadows, human tripwise, poised for success! And get themselves on top for the first time in this map.
A very clean afterplant as well from human tripwires. Even though the Hunter's Fury is committed, it also somewhat acts as bait actually to invite Alliance to push through that wall to try and catch out Robbie. However, that's where the lurkers come into play, the crossfires come into play, and human tripwires just wipe Alliance now. Having found the last 3 rounds on the bounce, they're going to look to try and end this first half on a high, and as they split up into a little bit of a default, the first thing they need to do now is get engagement as to the weapons that Alliance are wielding, and I've got some bad news for you, Pavlos. These weapons, they ain't great.
They aren't. Crippled confidence, especially when rounds are just so darn close. You can't shake the feeling of, damn, that round should have been mine.
Yeah.
Damn, that should have looked there first.
There's the opening.
Devo gets it done again.
I like how human tripwires don't explode off the back of this. They're still being fairly wary of the fact that Alliance could have stacked their sights, something which they have done.
Toxins place, but it's all an illusion, an obfuscation. Movement hasn't commenced. Alliance, though, lying in wait. Cider, eager for more. And he's found. Devo, the only thing he's done is peek that corner, and he's been rewarded with 2 kills so far. Although, punished now. Quickly traded. Desmo may be able to make this feasible. His teammates have brought it down to 1-on-2. But this Guardian needs to light up. Ah, man, and the rendezvous makes it easier. Ember repositions, will be out in the open. There's no way you expect that corner. And with a bullet between the eyes, human tripwise end the half 7-5.
That they do. Really, really well recovered half there. Bear in mind, they were 4-1 down at one point. They just, as mentioned before, they found a niche that works. And in this case, that little kink in the armor for Alliance is the fact that they struggle with overpeaking for these initial fights. They did so well to get in the first kind of 5 rounds or so to get that positioning, to be able to get a player advantage consistently, that even when they're on the back foot, they're still peaking. And that's what human tripwires started to exploit now. We enter the pistol round, human tripwires take this pistol, then Alliance are going to be in some serious, serious trouble.
Could be in a world of hurt, that's for sure. Mid movement from the human tripwires. How big of a fan are you with these Sheriff first rounds, man?
I'm impartial to them. I understand their place, and I think that if it builds confidence on your jet, then awesome. And being able to have that long-range potential really does have a place here.
Yeah, we're seeing that come out from at least Devo this particular round. Masky. Ooh. Damage onto the second, but only good for 1. Spike not even committed to the plant yet. They wanted to guarantee the site was fully clear, and that could be costing them on their attempt to fall back. Human tripwires finding 1. They've got the advantage. Albert barely standing, quickly swifted off of his feet. Robbie is the one to do that. Desmo, now all that remains, walking out of double doors. He's greeted with angry faces. Human tripwires are there to stop them.
I'm going to get a little bit finicky now, Pavlos. And I realise this is quite a minor detail, however it did have a big impact. And that is that first duel between, I think it was Cider and I believe Albert, onto Ember, who was fairly passive on the back of B. They did it so by first player peaks. There was like a good second delay before the second player swung. They'd swung in unison, they kill but they kill that player and they go in with a player advantage. Instead, because there was such hesitation, it went from one player to the next. It meant that first player dies, second player trades, and you're left still on the back foot.
Talking about back foot, Alliance are there. And they're just knocked down even further with every kill that human tripwires get. Man, someone signed these guys already. What the hell are you doing, London Esports? Your worst decision ever to drop them, honestly.
Go straight after them. That was the jugular Pavlos. Human tripwires. These guys are. I'm willing to bet their side by the end of the season. Like, these guys really are good. If you want to statue up, now's the time to do so. Radsky backs out. So Alliance try to get anything here, but every time they propose an inch, human tripwires take a mile. Embro able to take out another.
Embro? Yeah.
30 seconds left.
He is a bro, right? He really is a bro.
You're right. I honestly, it's kind of second series of the day towards the kind of mid-end of it. My dyslexia really makes names hard.
Don't worry about it.
Luckily, these European names are actually quite. They read how they're spelt, but we've had some serious trouble in the past.
We really have the struggle of a commentator, really trying to find out what how every name needs to be said. My first crutch was Boomich.
That's a hard name to read.
That is a hard name to read. Anybody out there knowing about that CS Russian legend?
My hardest was the Swedish name Svedjehead.
Svedjehead. I was pretty okay with that. I got that quickly.
I looked at it and I just melted. I was like, that's more than 2 syllables. I don't even know any words more than 2 syllables. So you tripwires. 9-5 into the lead now. We hit the full bite of Alliance. There is no operator in play for Alliance, so it is fairly rifle heavy, and with no ults to wield either, it's going to be mainly down to aim here. Over on Human Tripwires, they do have a double Marshall, triple Spectre set up, so 1 or 2 kills is the objective here. If you get a plant, even better.
Embo's actually fancying movement, aggressive. Spectre in hand, closer distance can favor. Oh, the flash is immaculate, but not enough bullets can counteract it. And now we're down to a 4-on-4. The Human Tripwires have actually found a lot of chip damage off of these close distances. Albert finds Muka, a real thorn to the side of Alliance here. Not an impossible one. I can see the health bars are in Alliance and they're not at a comfortable state. They're actually taking the fights onwards and Robbie can perhaps read it. He's going to the other side of the container here, and that's one nearly turning around in time beside her. Man, the fact that Robbie could sniff out they were coming after him. Quite a brain he's got there. And Devo. Now. Let's see if we can elevate to the task at hand. No. Ooh, be careful, mate. Niddler's there. And that's where he falls. Alliance find themselves around that they needed. That was supposed to be theirs. No more shenanigans. This is a time to fight for survival.
And it's a good time to be able to slap back Human Tripwires. If they're able to convert their bonus, that's really where Alliance, they press panic. Thankfully, now that their rifles are working, they do still lose 2 players. Their money still isn't completely off the ground yet, but it's enough to be able to reinvest without the whole buy collapsing. That being a Spectre on Desmo. Cider is able to bring out that null command as well. Over onto Human Tripwires, that operator on Devo with rifles to back it up now. With that first operator of the half, over on Human Tripwires, I'm going to be very interested as to seeing how they deploy it and whether or not we see a fast rotation just to allow it to cut out the attack to B.
Well, the B site execute seems fairly straightforward from the Alliance side, not hindered by too much. Human Tripwires very much respecting it, holding back. Rotations coming in. Albert eager to go in their face. Can this be assisted with Muka's flash drive? No, opts out of it. And the toxic screen enabled for Human Tripwires once again, not really allowing their opponents to peek out from those back corners. Albert again aggressing with the use of his teammates with his teammates toxic screen. Now wouldn't push through. Embo pre-fires it. What an opportunity there for Albert to retaliate, but no. Embo shut down. Spike touched, and that's pressure onto the Alliance side of Peek it. Vanilla coming out of the shadows gets it done. And Ratsky, no time to defuse, no time to get any more kills. We'll be able to get a retreating Cider, but it's Alliance to close up that gap and get a 7th round on the board.
Really, really strong stuff. I want to highlight how Human Tripwires played this round. They threw that, Embo threw that Viper's Wall on that back line of B, which meant, covering both pillars, which meant that in the retake, Alliance are pushed forward. And so it's a really nice setup, actually. However, they just didn't have the firepower to back it up. And it's the same story as to last round, really, where they lowered the HP of all the Alliance members. They just didn't kill very many of them. They're like an 80% completionist sort of attempt to a round. As they drop down to Sheriffs, there's that Vandal still on to Devos, who cannot underestimate them as they prepare to defend. Alliance's push over to A.
Moving on to the A site. Next step for them, isn't it? Taking it one by one. Will it be victorious like the last one was? Cider up close. Embo looking for some pot shots in the dark. Robbie is the one to connect it. No way the Sheriffs get it done. Devo with the only rifle, but Robbie and Muke maybe put this within the realms of possibility. Ratsky bringing out his sword of force, and that is what is influential in this one. Nille up against 3, looking to salvage it for Alliance. He's going to get spotted by the owl drone. Only just stopped. 2 cages to give him some space to work with. But Ratsky, with his ultimate, gets the job done. And Human Tripwires, yet again, find their road towards success.
Oh, what an eco. It's this little moment here that Vandal damages them, and then back 2 quick Sheriff kills, then the Tour de Force is able to chime in, and from there it's just a snowball effect. A hell of a round from Human Tripwires. More importantly now, they're able to hit those double digits, they're able to start setting themselves up to get into a position to close out not just the map now, Pavlos, but also the series. Embo still has that Viper's Pit available, which is almost going to rule out part of one of the bomb sites. It's going to rule out that's a main push, with Alliance now looking to split through mid with a few players lifting over to B. Blazestorm is available and deployed. However, what good can it do, Pavlos, if Albert isn't given any space? Mookie there with the opening.
Very important opening, of course. Ratsky wanting to go for more. Oh, but that is Nilo progressing, and now they're down 2 players. Robbie is the next player in contention. It seems that Human Tripwires are going past levels, and every time they've got a new grand boss to face up against.
Look at the cash on Alliance as well. This is a make or break.
They can't lose this. They cannot, and I think they're already on their way to do just that. How do you bring yourself in? Robbie with a shock dart. Softening up, wall commence, Cider stays alive! And now they found site control. Human Tripwires, though, pivot towards the main entrance of B.
They expect it to be this close.
Oh, an all-important dagger thrown, illustrating Robbie's position. Mook ends up dying, rotation could come in, but they don't have a spike. Desmo has to fall back and retrieve it. And now Human Tripwire's got a perfect sight line onto it. Embo can wrap from mid. If a rotation is permitted, maybe that could be the second saving grace, but Robbie gets the job done. Human Tripwire's on relentless.
This is where I want to highlight the map choice of Breeze there, Pavlos. When we saw Cider fall down with about 25 seconds left and the spike being dropped, in any other position, Desmo's able to retrieve that spike and back off and get to the other bomb site. But 25 seconds isn't enough on Breeze. It just isn't. And that you force Desmo to fight in an unwinnable position. We spoke about Alliance's economy. There isn't any. And better still, they've sort of half forced into this round. Bulldogs, Marshals, the lot has to come out now. There's a null commander Viper's Pit available. I'll doubt we'll be seeing the usage of that. And for Human Tripwires, with 3 ults available, with the null command of their own, a Blazestorm and a Hunter's Fury, we may see those drop this round just to get them to match and series points, then allow their aim to tick them over the line.
And this time, Human Tripwires don't take any risks, don't go for sort of an excursion odd push that can catch Alliance off guard, but Alliance is still scary of it because it's happened so many times before.
Yeah, you said it beautifully, and for Radsky, spot out in mid. How's Malfoy there to try and clean up the spotted player. Pinged, forced out of position. For human tripwires, it's all info at the moment. No proper engagement.
Just a microplay. That ult drone was perfectly timed. Rutsky getting a nice little shot and staying alive right after it.
And the timing doesn't favour him. He does have Robbie there to assist.
Montessori now to be enabled. Embo there as well to catch up the pieces that they try to run away from it. It's looking darn clean. Goodness me. Human Tripwires. There should be a name, the soap company, because they've just cleaned up.
The hazmat suits ready with some detergents and some very aggressive looking feather dusters. Alliance don't stand a chance. No cobweb here stands a chance either, as they find themselves with the best buy they can muster. A Viper's bit available from Malfoy. Desmo one away from a Hunter's Fury, but for the rest of Alliance, that's it for ults. You're not going to see the other players bring theirs online unless you see a monstrous round, or they're going to have to kind of tick through for the next 2 or 3. Over on Human Tripwires, they still have the Space Storm, they still have the Null command, ready to try and stop Alliance's push over to the safe site. This could be the play that decides the series.
Oh man, and there's just so many more plays that can follow up after it if this one goes to Alliance's way. No mistakes can be afforded for the next 5 rounds. Muke using a null command out of desperateness, nearly up close. Still Viper's Pit giving Alliance a lot of control, a lot of deep control as well. Human Tripwires, Robbie! What a shot! The IGL of the team just bouncing back from it, buying time for Rasky to also come in, but trades have been falling into Alliance's favor. Muka, no time to res him, means that he will be no more, but Embo isn't going to say it's over just yet. Well, it is over after a 2-sided peak like that, but still, a long way to go for Alliance.
Finishes the job. Human Tripwires now forced to reinvest, a position they're probably not all too used to. This has been a fairly dominant defensive side for them, but now they're able to reinvest the op, and it means that they can now really start to hold Alliance at arm's length. For Alliance, once again, it's around they won short, but they took so many casualties in the process that their money is still on ground zero. Desmo with 100 credits in the bank, Malfoy with 150, Cider with 350. This is accompanied by a Neural Theft and Hunter's Fury. Over on Human Tripwires, though, the double op setup comes out, splits between the chamber and the jet.
Scanning ahead.
Well, Toxic Screen enabled towards that A site here from the Alliance side, looking to replicate what they were able to do before, but a big win condition for them was that Viper's Pit. And unfortunately, that's an ultimate, and you can only get that every 7 Ultra Orbs, I believe?
Yeah.
Devo gets one and runs away!
Oh, that's quick!
Robbie wants more, though. Walking past the Poison Cloud? No, not quite. Well, they've opened up the door and they've crossed through, but Muke is able to find all of them! Well, it's done!
Defenders win.
Everybody from the talent believed it would have gone the other way, but Human Tripwires joined the server today to just prove us all wrong. They're here to stay, and they look way more leveled up than they were that previous season.
You're absolutely right, and I'm kind of glad I was wrong. This season now suddenly becomes a lot more contentious. Alliance now questioned as to whether they can make playoffs. Human Tripwires now in question as to whether they can make playoffs. And all of a sudden, the pack gets a lot tighter in skill disparity from the top of this league and the bottom of this league, which for me is just going to make every further game even more exciting. Because Human Tripwires, when they're feeling it, Pavlos, my god, are they feeling it.
What I really liked about Human Tripwires is that they had a lot of levels to their play. I kind of feel like a broken record at this point when I say it, but that is a must-have when it comes to this level and this caliber of performance, right? And Human Tripwires definitely are getting there. Yes, okay, the new additions of the 2 Finns joining this time around have also brought in the gunpowder, but the main components, Devo, for example, Ratsky, the ones taking charge of extremities and being sole defenders and anchors of sites, they are also feeling high in charge and as confident as they ever were.
You're absolutely right. Someone else I want to highlight is Robbie's info gather this game has been absolutely flawless. Even with kind of shocked, even with recon darts that get destroyed, it doesn't matter. The fact that it was destroyed was enough of a warning. We also saw some masterful Aldrone usages, and as we see here, yeah, Robbie takes the MVP. That does not surprise me at all. Something else to highlight though is Embo finished that with a 3.4 KDA.
Incredible, incredible. Really, really good stuff coming in from the Alliance side. Nilla, the previously known as Tundra representative of the previous season, has done it on Alliance this time around. Big clutch meister when it's required. So many of that team, of that whole team, can be considered that. And I think you bore witness to it when we saw Team Finest play yesterday. So, big congrats from the human tripwires overall, though they were the better team today. I think we saw a few of the rapid-fire question interviews they had during the breaks, some of that also shown, and it does appear they've been putting a lot of work behind the scenes, and that's what you really love to see when you don't even have yourself an organization, when you don't really have the guarantee that you can do this full time, you put in the work yourself because you've got the passion for it and you've got the drive for it, and you know you can be the best.
No, you're absolutely right, and I do see a very bright future ahead for this roster. The same to be said for Alliance. As you mentioned, they are a new roster. Even though the org itself is very well established, it's still a new roster. And I actually see Alliance being one of the most improved teams from start of the season to end of the season, probably, well, this season. I really think that if they make the most of the sort of support network that comes with the org, these guys are going to be truly, truly magnificent.
It has to be. It really has to be a redemption arc from them. It's a lot of pressure to put on them, but it's for good reason. I hate to be the one to put kind of that pressure on them, but they put it upon themselves. You know, it's a new venture. Obviously, they know it. They need to know where their headspace is at. No longer having Fearoth, for example, to kind of bring them back and sort of put them back in their places. It's a learning experience for every single one of those players, whether they are the veterans of the team, whether they are under new roles, whether they're just playing in the first organization they've ever played with, right? So I think it's Kadazi's first ever org he's ever played in, right? He's played in no-namer teams before, but he's never played in a big team like this. So everyone is with a new challenge, but, you know, hopefully, we'll be able to see them progress. So, human tripwires, man, what could you point out as probably some of the best things they were able to bring out in this series?
For me, it's being able to set up one another. There's always someone else. You know, you execute onto a site, there's a crossfire. You execute, you try and go for map control, there's a crossfire. When you're playing against human tripwires, they always have teammates on close at hand, which makes trying to duel them so difficult. Which is what allows Radsky to have such wide angles to take fights, because you can't walk into them at point blank because of how effective these crossfires are. So for me, it's the second human tripwires have you at range, you're in big trouble.
Solid fundamentals and also mid-round calling, I'd say. I think I need to add to that with
particularly on Haven. Yeah,
very, very important reads. There were both sides of the coin, right? It's a team that is able to punish mistakes and also the team that makes most mistakes. And I think Alliance also was on that wagon where, obviously, as you mentioned, Haven, where Robbie was able to make those really good calls, and whether it was someone else in the team. In general, human tripwires reacted very well over Alliance in that particular map. And it also felt that Alliance didn't really have too many other tactics.
No, you're absolutely right. However, Pavlos, I believe we have an interview at some point fairly soon.
Yeah, we do.
From members of Human Tripwires. So I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, I kind of want to follow Human Tripwires. I think they're going to be my golden boy for the for this season, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to be following these guys for sure. And I'm waiting for an org to pick them up. I'm looking at you. Org owners, this is your time. This is a pickup. This is a grand pickup. A lot of potential there. And this isn't their skill ceiling by all means. A lot of them, a lot of these players are cracked. They can reach really massive heights, and that's what we're looking for. I have received word that it is Robbie that will be interviewing shortly. So he's not quite ready there, but as soon as he is, we'll get him on here. I guess we can keep on the discussion of what is really in store for us at this point, because Human Tripwires and Alliance both lost their matches last week. This puts Human Tripwires in that 1-on-1 scoreline. Everything is still open. Every team has played 2 games. Is there a team that particularly impressed you? You didn't expect that type of performance from them this week?
Oh, that's a close one. I'm going to go with Human Tripwires. I think they genuinely, they did just look very damn good. So I want to highlight is their next game was going to be against H2O. So Human Tripwires, I imagine, are going to have a very, very strong start to this season.
Yeah, having a 2-on-1 start, it's I think way better than the last one, right? Because they weren't really contending for the playoff spots, but I think this time around that could definitely happen. And they're also contending against teams like Hookahs, for example, who they now feel a lot more competitive, right? They are also a team to shout out, and also the league's newcomers, Heat. There's so much talent this time around, and it's completely switching up the scripts of what we are used to, what is the norm. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed about is Kova.
They're a little bit flaccid going into the start of this this week. However, I want to kind of contradict that by saying, while Kova didn't do great, Finest, they were the true ones who upset it there. That was an incredible match between Finest and Excel, something which I believe the VOD will be on this channel as well. So if you didn't see it, you can go to the channel and check out below. And then, of course, next week, Pavlos, we've got, of course, our 2 teams here. We have Human Tripwires versus H2O, and then the other one to watch out for, I imagine, will be Alliance versus Excel. That is going to be a good game.
100%. But before we move on, Robbie was going to join us on that interview, but unfortunately, he can't connect. Yeah, so we can move it onwards. Let's have a look at where this leaves us when it comes to the standings of the of our league so far, as all teams have played 2 of their games. That's our faces.
That's us again.
Standings. That's us again. Never mind. Oh, there we go. Second time's a charm.
Is it us? Oh, no, it's not.
Hey! Hookahs 2-0. A very strong start to the season.
Yeah.
I think that is double the amount of wins they've gotten last season already.
They've started strong, and honestly, they're a very good team. It's surprisingly for me, it's the 2 unsigned teams in this league, which I think are going to be the most interesting to follow. I think Human Tripwires, I would love, and I cannot wait to see their game against Hookahs. For me, that's going to be game of the season.
I think also, currently as the standings are, I feel like it's very representative of the caliber of teams and the level they are. I think Hookahs maybe can be slotted on that 4th and 5th instead. But man, and Human Tripwire is a little bit higher over Kova, I'd say. But I guess we'll see. It will formulate as we go. But let's also see what our predictions look like after this. How we stand as casters. Well, we knew this. Nothing changed, but we were all entirely wrong in putting our faith into Alliance.
I want to highlight the fact that we all picked the same thing, and somehow Neokai still laughs at predictions. I can't wait for him to get on, I believe, next week and just roast me. But like, it's genuinely for Neokai. We were told before we started his predictions can be kind of rough. But I believe it's both you and Naori who are currently doing best in predictions. So if you just want to follow who you think is going to win, then just copy Pavlos.
Although I did get 1-on-1s throughout most of the days, apart from yesterday, which I got both correct. But either way, enough gloating. Let's
very nice pick on Finest.
Yeah, indeed. Let's have a look at what is to come for the following week of the VALORANT Regional League of Northern Europe. Polaris, of course. There are couple of matches on each of the days, as it has been so far. HTW versus Human Tripwires on Monday, as well as Kova versus Finest. Very interesting matchups. We're looking at Kova trying to find their way back in. As you said, Human Tripwires looking to have a very strong start against H2O. Really cool stuff to see.
No, you're absolutely right. These are games you do not want to miss. Pavlos, if we want to know when the channel is going live, what do we do?
You follow at @ValLeague_NE,
Wow.
and any of our social media platforms. Instagram,
And it's all the
Facebook,
same.
Twitter.
It's great.
It's all the same, apart from YouTube. Then you have to go to Valorant Regional League of Northern Europe Polaris. It's a long one, I know, but you'll get
Yep,
there. Just
it's a
write Polaris. It'll probably make itself. It'll probably appear at some point, and I'm pretty sure you'll find the links in our Twitters or anywhere. But yeah, stay up to date. A lot of awesome content. I really like the highlight reel from last week's performance.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. So I'm looking forward to this one, and I think that one is posted. If you missed that during the stream, the past couple of days, that's going to be posted very shortly or in the next few days. So make sure you follow us on all the social media platforms to get updated with all of that. But that's enough of myself and Kremet today, and it's enough of us this week. See you again next week for more epic Northern action.